These are the first 5 notes that you should learn how to play if you are a beginning saxophonist. In this video, I'm not only going to show you how to play these notes on your saxophone, but also how to read music and how to read a saxophone fingering chart. So it doesn't matter if you are a complete beginner, by the end of this video, you will be able to make some music all by yourself. With all that being said, go ahead and grab your saxophone and let's get started making some music. Now, hold on there, partner. This here's an E-flat only video, which means it's only gonna work if you play an alto or baritone saxophone. If you got yourself a soprano or tenor sax, oh boy, you must be poles. It'll take a few things gonna work. No sirree, you need to jump up on that cracker box and get your tuchus over there to the B-flat version of this video where we're gonna talk about the same thing. And all those notes over there, sure trust me, are gonna be an apple pie order now. Get on that horse and get out of here and skedaddle before I get the sheriff call on you. The first note that we're going to play together is the note G. On the staff, G sits on the second line from the bottom, and it sounds like this. In order to play G, we're going to take the first 3 fingers of our left hand and push them down on their respective home keys. Your left hand thumb will not press the octave key, and your bottom 3 fingers will also not do anything as well. It's just the first 3 fingers on your left hand. So for G, our fingering is 1, 2, 3 on our left hand, and this is helped visualized by our saxophone fingering chart. A saxophone fingering chart is exactly what it sounds like, a chart to help you remember which fingers to use when playing a certain note. If we look at the fingering chart for G, we can see that it has 3 closed circles, 3 open circles, and then a symbol for the octave key, which is also open. When the circles are closed, it means to push your finger down on that key, and when they're open, it means that you're not using it at all. So for the key G, we have 1, 2, 3 closed on our left hand, or the top circles, open for all 3 bottom circles, and open for the octave key. And we're going to use the same fingering chart for the rest of the notes that we learned in this video. So with that in mind, let's go ahead and play G together. The next note that we're going to learn together is the note A. On the staff, A is 1 step above G and sits on the second space from the bottom. And it sounds like this. In order to play A, all you have to do is take the same fingers from G and lift that ring finger so that you're using 2 fingers instead of 3. And that's it. So you can see in our saxophone fingering chart, we don't have 3 closed circles anymore. We have 2 on the top, and the rest remain the same because that's the only change that we're gonna make. So now that we know that, let's play A together with the same process that we learned G. Now that we have learned 2 notes on the saxophone, we need to work transitioning between them because music is made up of lots of different notes strung together. So we're gonna take G and A and we're gonna go back and forth, reading them and moving our fingers along with the motion of notes. Our third note that we're going to learn today is the note B. On the staff, B is one step above A and sits on the third line from the bottom, and it sounds like this. To play B on the saxophone, all you do is take A, and maybe you guessed this already, lift up that middle finger and use one finger on that left hand, our index finger. Now, because this is super simple, we're going to jump right in and transition from G to A to B, following along with the music on the screen. And all you have to do is lift one finger at a time or push one finger back down at a time to get to the next note. We have learned 3 notes on the saxophone. If you're enjoying this lesson, I would greatly appreciate your consideration in subscribing to the channel. It's free for you to do, it helps my channel out a ton, and you can always unsubscribe later if you want. Okay, jumping back into saxophone, the next note that we're going to learn is the note D. On the staff, D sits on the 4th line from the bottom, or the 2nd from the top, however you want to think about it, and it sounds like this. D is going to be the trickiest note that we are learning to play today, and that's because we have to push down quite a few fingers. To play D, we're going to use all 3 fingers on our left hand, all 3 fingers on our right hand, and the octave key with our thumb on our left hand. So on our fingering chart, all of the notes that we are using are closed because we're using all of those fingers. It's okay if this note doesn't come out right away because sometimes it can be a little bit difficult to what we call speak. The note doesn't want to speak right away sometimes, and that's just something that you will practice and feel out as you get to know the saxophone more and practice more. Some people have luck with it right away. Some people, it takes them a couple tries to get the note D. Regardless of the case, it's just going to take some practice to get the feeling of this note. And because we move a lot of fingers, we're going to just worry about 2 notes right now. We're going to move from B, the note we just learned, with 1 finger, and then moving all of our fingers down that we're using with 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3 in our thumb, we're going to work the transition of 1 finger to, what would that be? 1, 2, 3, 7. Good grief, 7 fingers there, okay? Even me, I'm like, I haven't thought about how many fingers I use. It's a lot. But it's also not that bad when you practice it, so don't get overwhelmed. The main idea here is that you move your fingers nice and quick to get to that note and that you move them at the same time. So let's work moving from B to D. The 4th note that we're going to learn together is the note E. E is going to be the last space at the top of the staff, and it sounds like this. To get to E, we're going to use the same fingering that we used with the note D that we just learned, except on our right hand, we're going to lift that ring finger so that we have 1, 2, 3 on the top and 1, 2 on the bottom with that octave key. So once you jump the bridge from B to D and you use a lot of fingers, all you got to do now is pick up one finger on your right hand to get from D to E. So now it's easy again. Now it's a little more simple. So let's work that transition from B to D to E and back down, making sure that we're using the right fingers for all of those notes. The last note that we're going to learn is one you actually already know, and that's the note G again. Technically, it's a different note, but it's also the same note in that it's an octave above the first G that we learned. Music is just a pattern of notes that repeat over and over again. The musical alphabet is just A, B, C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, and that repeats over and over again from low notes to high notes. So before we learned the low G, it's time to learn the high G, and that sits on top of the staff. And it sounds like this. It uses the same fingering from the low G that we learned from before, except all we're doing is keeping that octave key down to make it the high G. So to get from E to G, all we need to do is take our two fingers on our right hand and lift them so that we get to G with all of our left hand fingers down, and our right hand fingers are doing what they were before, just kind of hanging out. So what we're going to do now is work the transition from D to E to G and back down to make sure that those notes feel nice and comfortable. Okay, we have learned 5, technically 6 notes if you want to be really technical about it, but 5 notes all together in this video. And instead of working small little chunks of them, we're now going to put them all together. We're going to work from low G all the way up to high G with all of the notes in between, and we're going to do this a couple times to get the feeling of it. By the way, this is known as a pentatonic scale. Pent meaning 5 notes in the scale. And once you have these 5 notes down, you can actually create a lot of cool melodies with them, which we will do in future videos with these 5 notes. But for now, let's just play up and down that scale a couple times and get used to how it feels under our fingers and get used to what that sounds like with some different music. Now, the most important thing that you can do next is take what you have learned in this video and go and practice it. If you want to get better at the saxophone and at music, unfortunately, there is no shortcut and no way to cheat your way to success. If you want to get better at what you do, you have to spend time practicing and working on the things that you learn. That way, when we move on to the next information in the next video and we build upon what we learned, you're feeling really comfy with these notes and you know how to read the music and feel good about all of that. And with that, everyone, thank you so much for stopping by. I really appreciate you checking out the video. It's time for you to go get stoked and go practice. Have fun making music.
Whoa, 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 makes the music with Stoked on Sex.